Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. And today I am recording from my native Costa Rica. Very rare that I record an episode when I'm traveling, but I'm here through like almost the end of December. I couldn't say no to Brett, who's a good friend. So here we are. I am a little tired. I was out with my dad yesterday. And so my shirt, for those watching on YouTube, is very, very accurate today. So anyway, today I have with me Peter Grant, the CEO at Safesite. Peter, Pete, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Great, Tony. Great, Tony. Thank you very much for having me on the YouTube video interview panel, whatever you call it. Yeah, great to be here. Actually, I just finished my own coffee myself, so I'm joining you in that sense.
Okay, fantastic. And you are in New York City, right? Or no, you're in San Francisco. Oh, okay, it's New York City.
I'm based in New York City. Yeah, I've been in San Francisco the last 6-7 years, but recently moved over to New York.
Okay, so I do want to take a moment to ask about the weather, which I always do when I am in a beautiful place. So I'm guessing New York City right now it's like 10 degrees and a foot of snow outside. We're recording on December 13 for the listeners.
It's 11 degrees, so close. It's actually really nice. It's crispy. There's no snow yet. Okay. We're expecting the first snow, I think, in the next few weeks. So it's actually really present. Summer keeps creeping back. So on the weekends we get still some like nice sunny days where you can actually hit the park.
Okay, I'm in San Jose, Costa Rica, where I'm from. I never realized how nice the weather is until I moved to the States. Low of 62, high of 71 today, which makes a perfectly average day in San Jose. I'm not sure why I ever moved away, other than the U.S. is a lot more fun and it pays much better. So anyway, Pete. So we always give the guest the chance of giving the elevator pitch. So what is Safesite?
Really good question. So Safesite is a 8-year-old company. We provide safety management technology and virtual safety coaching services to over 4,000 US companies and about 18,000 non-US companies. And so we help all types and sizes of companies improve their top performing safety processes, or just digitizing their safety program for the first time. We do construction, manufacturing, logistics, agriculture. We mainly stick to those high hazard industries because they need the most help. And we improve their safety engagement for all of their employees. We improve their safety compliance. We've been able to demonstrate a reduction in incident frequency by up to 57% throughout all of our users. And now with our exclusive partnership with Foresight, we can actually reduce workers' compensation premiums for Safesite users when they engage within the Safesite platform and service within a Foresight policy.
Okay. So you come from the safety side, not quite an insurtech, but more is it like a construction tech or safety tech, or is there such a thing?
Well, there's something called construction tech.
Okay.
So yeah, well, my background is civil engineering, commercial construction. So throughout my career, before running Safesite and Foresight, I was part of the construction industry and designing safety programs and deploying them, and saw the opportunity to digitize them as not only being vastly more effective than the incumbent systems, but also capturing a lot of data that allows us to obviously use artificial intelligence. So in that sense, it's sort of construction tech that evolved into risk tech, that evolved into, I guess, insure tech service. But as I can go on to explain, the Safesite Foresight business relationship is very symbiotic, right? We're more and more embedded into the Foresight underwriting process and screening process for the potential policyholders than you would typically be as a safety consultant for a typical carrier, for example. So our operations and data structures are very much intertwined. So I wouldn't call Safesite in isolation insurtech, but certainly in the context of the Foresight relationship, where it could be considered insurtech as well.
Okay. So part of me wants to ask, okay, so if I'm a construction company, how do you guys help? But my audience is made of insurance brokers and insurance carrier leaders. So yeah. From the perspective of the broker and the carrier, where can you guys be help? And I think this particular audience, we don't have to convince them that safety is important, right? That they live and breathe that world, and they completely understand that anything we can do to lower claims is good for it's a win-win. It's good for the carrier, good for the final client. The broker could miss out on some premiums, but you're doing the right thing for the client, and that'll attract new clients. So ultimately, it is a win-win.
Yeah, that's a good point. And obviously, as part of our exercise, we try and look at Safesite from the various different persona or profiles within our business model, and carriers and brokers certainly being with some of those personas that we like to dig into. So certainly, and I totally agree with you, right? No, intuitively and inherently, the insurance industry doesn't want to have injuries or have incidents. And you hit the nail on the head. Claims is the term that they see most, right? Because they don't typically get involved in the safety compliance or incident prevention side. Insurance inherently, just by its nature, will get involved when a claim happens. And so that's historically where the insurance industry for workers' compensation has been most involved. And there have been some rudimentary efforts historically by incumbents to help with safety services out in the field for compliance and incident prevention. But none of them have really nailed the ability to deploy that digitally and to aggregate that data and that information into the broker relationship and to the carrier's underwriting. And so, your question about, day to day, from a broker's perspective, what am I seeing out in the field, right? So a broker will understand the claims, they'll understand the XMOD, they'll understand the loss ratio, but do they, on a day-to-day basis, understand what the safety performance and safety engagement is within that company's operations? No, they don't. There's no way they possibly could, right? And so what we do with our service is we go in and help each of the company identify their loss history and understand the trends and the reasons why that occurred. And then we build out a program for this next policy year saying, hey, for this policy year, we want these people on these projects or locations to engage in these types of activity on this kind of a cadence, right? And so that's things as simple as your daily inspections, your OSHA inspections, your equipment and plant inspections, your safety observations, incidents, safety meetings, all these typical safety processes that should be done, often aren't done. If they are done, it's pen and paper. And the insurance industry has no visibility on if and how that's being done. And there's no aggregator for you to say, how's this company trending over time in terms of safety compliance or safety culture. So that whole process, we boil down to a very, very simple formula. We call it the Safesite score. And so in real time, both the policyholder, the broker, and the underwriter has an understanding of the health of the safety program within that company's operations. And so we've been developing, we have a patent on the Safesite score, and it is a trusted representation on how strong that company's safety culture is. And within that safety culture, it is their safety compliance, their safety engagement, how many people on their team are engaged. And we're able to correlate that Safesite score with loss ratios, and therefore getting a better score will lead to better discounts within your foresight policy.
Okay, now I'm really getting it. So I'm a former middle market underwriter. I was never a broker, and I did not do a lot of construction accounts because I think we had a construction vertical, or it could be that just in Mississippi we never saw construction accounts, but it definitely spoke my language in that as an underwriter, very often a submission comes in, and I look at the loss runs, and I work with the agent on better understanding why the losses will be better going forward if they were challenging in the past, and we can play with the mod a little, or better understand the mod, correct the mod if necessary. But it's a one-time snapshot, totally. Right? And the whole trending piece, that's fantastic. Like, we have no idea if they've got 5 years of pretty clean losses, but we really have no idea if management significantly changed in the last year, and things are getting worse, and that's why the agent wants to move it from the current carrier or whatever. We have no visibility into any of that. So and as it exists today, like most carriers would only be looking at the Safesite score once a year at renewal, but as the carriers get better, they should be much more able. How often does that update for the company?
Yeah, it's really good. And so our vision is basically real-time premiums, right, for foresight policyholders based off the Safesite score. Workers' compensation nationally is annual at this point. And so that, but that vision basically speaks to how we believe the Safesite score should be treated with all of the stakeholders within this relationship. So at the moment, we have the policyholder or the company they can just log in and they can see their score live. We provide them with daily and weekly score reports. The broker and the underwriter receive the score once per month, but they can then request. So we have a number of broker partners who say, "Hey, give me the score for all of my accounts," and we can send out a report for that. They're incentivized because in certain situations that they actually get improved commissions based off the policyholders or their clients' engagement in the Safesite platform, right? So we understand that they have a relationship with the policyholder or their client, and we want them to incentivize more engagement in Safesite because they have an upside as well. Obviously, they want to keep their client, but if there's a financial reward there, we want them having close eyes on that score. And so, and then I want to be specific. The only thing that we send through to the underwriter to Foresight is the score itself. So we're not sending through any hazards or stuff ups or photos or anything like that to Foresight. There's a very strict firewalls between the companies. The only thing we send through is the Safesite score, and that goes through to the underwriting team. They understand what the Safesite score represents. Obviously, there's a number of layers in the score. But they understand that if there's an A, that they should, they can compete more aggressively for that account, or it should be, within our appetite. So, we do that. Obviously, we're trending at the moment. We have real-time aggregated scores for all of our portfolio companies or book of business. So we're constantly trending that as Safesite and as, with our partnership with Foresight. And sharing that with our broker partners as well. So, let's just say that we are working on that vision to go live premiums. It's not going to go from annual to live, but we are certainly looking at, with some state regulators, looking at quarterly or monthly to start with.
That's fantastic. I really love the vision of real-time premiums, and I'm hoping that is a preview of why joining forces with Foresight makes sense. And I don't want to commit Emilio and his team to anything, right? I don't have any inside knowledge here, but it would make so much sense to eventually get to that point where we can really do the real-time premiums.
It's tough, right? We have to build confidence with the regulators, and we know that. And we're all about being transparent with our process. And we have true belief that the Safesite score in our process of leveraging that data continuously throughout the year to build a really high resolution picture of the risk profile of the company is far more accurate than just an XMOD score once per year. Totally understand why XMOD is there, and I think there's a long-term sort of slow to change 3-4 year number that has had its use, but in today's age, it really is superseded by something like the Safesite score, which is far more accurate in real time. People come and go, businesses change within 6 months, right? The XMOD is no longer relevant in that case.
Those fighting words, right? I'm not a work comp underwriter. I have underwritten work comp, but I was always kind of a package underwriter, not a work comp specialist. But I can only imagine friends that I have who are work comp underwriters or even CEOs of work comp companies, say that the mod is outdated, or I can't remember your exact wording. It's a big statement. It's a big statement.
I'm happy to stand by it. Like I said, I know the XMod's there, and I believe it's absolutely served its purpose and is still serving a purpose. But where there's data available, I know what I would choose.
So you mentioned that you guys even apply AI to this whole question of how safe is the company. What is the AI doing? What is it? Predictive analytics? Is it what? in
Sure,
layman's terms?
it's not. So as you know, there's type 1, type 2, and type 3 AI. It's not type 3 by any means. It's not running the world yet, but certainly sub services within our stack have AI built into them, so that we're replacing. We have a very competent and very engaged safety professionals on our team. We want them spending time on things where it's valued the most and not time on activities that are relatively repetitive. So I sort of touched on the process where we're using AI most, but it's essentially looking historically at the loss runs or loss history of that company and interpreting that in the context of the class code, the geography, the size of the company, and then predicting the percentage chance of incidents within that company's operation, where and when they're going to occur, and then using AI to suggest mitigating activities based off what we've seen in the past is a leading activity that has prevented an incident, suggesting those same activities for this same risk profile in order to mitigate or reduce the chance of that incident from happening. And so then we suggest these activities, the end user will accept them. And so this might be, hey, it's summer and you're in Texas and you're a roofer and you're a small company and you've had 2 roofers have heat stress over the last 3 years and fall off a roof. So we would say at the start of summer, you need to train everyone on heat stroke. You need to daily have multiple stand downs where the guys and girls will come off the roof and have a drink of water and rest in the shade, and then check in with each individual throughout the day. And so if a company, we know that these steps work to preventing heat stress. And so if a company does these, their score will go up dramatically. If they don't do them, their score will go down. And when scores go down, the humans then step in and say, hey, why weren't you, is there anything we can do? Is there training? Is there anything we can do to help you engage with this process that we know works?
Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Do you have a story or two of like radically changing a customer because of this technology? And feel free to anonymize them if needed.
Sure. So we have a lot of wow moments with our customer base. Certainly, a lot of companies have come, both in Safesite directly or on the Foresight business side, who have known that they needed to digitize their safety program, knew the power of the data. They just didn't know how to go through that change management, or how to, there's a lot of safety apps out there, I'll be honest. Why Safesite over the others? And we've got a lot of specific reasons why we think our approach is different / better than those, and particularly if you can get upside on insurance, there's a lot to say about that. But certainly, like when companies are going from 0 to 1 in terms of digitizing their safety processes, that's a lot of disruption to their existing process, and inevitably it is a big change in their safety operations and maturity of the safety workflows, capturing the data, interpreting that data and feeding it back out to the field to prevent, to modify workflows and to prevent injuries. We see a lot. And so this, things such as, exclusion zones, when they're lifting, through certain times of the day, we need to put exclusion zones in these sorts of areas that we weren't doing in the past. It might take us an extra hour throughout the day, but the risk is significantly lower. So there's practical on-site workflows that are the result of the data that we're able to collect and interpret and show to the end user that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to get their head around, because there's destructured data at best from the field. So yeah, there's not one particular workflow or example, but changing exclusion zones is a really common one that we've seen.
Okay, for brokers or carriers that are listening that I want to look at bringing you guys on, what is the revenue model like? Like who's paying for the Safesite system, and how long does it take to kind of bring it online?
Sure. So we have 2 business models. One is direct to market. So we have a freemium product that is used by small companies who or larger companies who are sort of stepping into their digitization. And the freemium version of Safesite is pretty well suited for them. They are actually getting a lot out of the system and don't need to upgrade. We also have a premium version, an enterprise version where we charge per user per month for the use of Safesite. And then and one thing that's really interesting about us is we're not revenue driven, right? So people find that we're cost comparison wise, we're very competitive against the whole industry when it comes to safety management. We do our job when we eliminate injuries and deaths within our customer base. That is actually our business model here at Safesite. So the better we do that, the better the group does as a whole. And so on the Foresight side, we have an exclusive partnership with Foresight. We are not servicing any other carriers or carrier customers. Safesite and the Safety Success Service, which is not provided to the open market, provided for free to every single policyholder underneath Foresight. And so we deploy those services for free. Policyholders are obviously expected to engage to produce a Safesite score, but there is no fee for them to do that. And the technology, along with the Safety Success Service, represents an incredible amount of value for these companies. And so they usually come into the policy or the program for a reason. When we show them what we're able to do for them from a safety perspective at no cost, they see the incredible value there. And that's something that brokers have really loved because it's helping them to demonstrate value to their clients and helping them to attract and retain them for longer, right? If you've got a safety program for them that's being deployed, it's embedded in their operations, it's demonstrating results, it's driving down their premiums. On aggregate, the broker might be getting less premiums, but they're keeping the client, right? Keeping the client happy.
Well, and that client is part of an industry where they probably have friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a very warm referral when a contractor or a contracting company or a construction company of some sort tells their friends, "These guys saved me a bunch of money in my insurance." That referral is much more powerful than anything else you could possibly market to those types of companies. So incredibly
warm lead. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. An incredibly warm lead. Exactly. So kind of the last piece I always wonder, and you already touched on it at the very beginning, but so I see that you came from the construction space, right? 5 years as an engineer at a contractor. What led you to this? Well, to come over to the insurance side and to create Safesite.
Sure, that's it takes me way back, but the genesis of the company, like I said, came from my experience in the field and the opportunity we saw with technology. I also had a very close friend at the time pass away due to a worksite accident, and so combining those two areas with my passion for technology and co-founders Dave and Lee, we put our heads together and came up with the concept of Safesite, right? To digitize safety workflows out in the field, capture data from them, right? And we didn't really know what it meant at the time, but we knew if we could improve safety performance and predict safety performance, the insurance industry would inherently find that valuable. And so we had the word insurance just written on our first slide deck, right? This is back in 2014. We just had no idea what that meant. We were like, big buzzword. We know insurance is important, but as we brought on, we improved the Safesite platform. We brought on customers. We brought on data. They were loving it. They were engaging with it, and we were able to demonstrate case studies showing that hey, we're able to reduce incident frequency for these companies, and there's a correlation between them and the Safesite score. And we also, as we were servicing these companies, we found that the safety teams didn't have a big budget for safety apps or technology. And one of their biggest pain points was workers' compensation costs, or insurance costs in general, but workers' compensation, chief among them as a massive cost for these businesses, and we're impacting their profitability and sustainability. And so we always knew that we wanted to deliver value within the insurance vertical. And as we developed the Foresight business model over the last, let's call it 4 or 5 years, The structure that we came up with is the one that you see today, where you are rewarded for engagement within Safesite. Safesite is for free underneath the policy. Like it took a lot of workshopping with industry veterans, industry peers, and now the internal team of experts that we have here over at Foresight and Safesite to really pull this program together. And a big part of our IP as a business is really how we were able to do that and do it so effectively, and why we're so popular now and why we're growing so rapidly, and why the message is resonating so well with brokers out there.
Fantastic. Yeah, having never worked in the construction space or in the construction insurance space, this makes intuitive sense to me as a no-brainer win-win. So makes fantastic sense. Thank you so much for joining me today. When this goes live, I will tag your LinkedIn, and I will include in the show notes the website for Safesite, safesitehq.com. And it looks like it has a chat feature and everything, so super easy to start the conversation with you guys. So thank you so much for coming, and I love the mission of the business, how it's really meant to prevent or eliminate injuries and deaths in very dangerous industries.
It's a great reason to get up every day. Our team is so motivated to do that, and we do it, and we do it well.
Thank you so much, Pete.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for your time, mate. You too. Great to hang out.